Mason Washington. I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I basically moved up to Chapel Hill to kind of get my life started. Um, Ran track back in high school, loved it, and eventually got out of that after my first year of college and tried to figure out what was my passion after that, which was kind of very hectic. Didn't know what I wanted to do, and then got into hospitality. My brother was a hospitality and management major at ECU, and he was like, just give it a try. So once I got into it, fell in love with it in the food and beverage aspect. But after a few years of working in food and beverage, I wanted to go more in depth in this industry, and I was like, what can I do next? And that's how I kind of got into wine. I worked under a wine manager, kind of asked him a couple of questions like why he enjoyed his job, how did he get into it? And I was like, you can make good money, travel the world, sip good, and you're around beautiful women all the time. How could you not like it?
And what's your favorite wine so far?
So honestly, it was this 1996 Chenin Blanc from the Vouvray appellation. Stellar wine. I'm always heavy on Chenin Blancs and Rieslings. I don't know what it is about it. I just like it because they're so versatile. You can get them dry, semi-sweet, or even sweet as well, depending on the region it's coming from. So that's why I enjoy it so much.
Had to get a chance to actually go to the wine vineyard, or?
I have not been able to go to France yet. I'm actually going to Napa Valley August 30th. So kind of stoked for that. I'm visiting Black Stallion Winery, Clos du Bois, and Stag's Leap Wine Cellar.
Okay. Weren't you just at a wine conference?
Yeah.
How was that?
I went to a wine conference in D.C. Really allowed me to connect with a lot of wine enthusiasts, sommeliers, and winemakers in this industry, especially on the East Coast. Made crazy connections, and I actually got offered a couple Harvest internship offers for next summer.
So walk me through like the wining process to get to the top tier. For those who don't know anything about wine, like what are the top tiers? Like, is there certifications?
So there's actually two very distinctive routes. A lot of people go through the Court Masters of Sommeliers, which is more service-based, which is good for the restaurant industry, or unless you want to be a sommelier through yourself, which is kind of what I want to do, but that's not my main focus. My primary thing, I'm going through WSET, which focuses more on everything about wine without the service part.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of. And that route, there's 4 levels for the diploma, and then eventually that can qualify you to get into the Institute of Masters of Wine in London.
In London. How long normally does that take? You know.
It's kind of at your rate. It depends on how fast you want to blow through it. I took my level 1s back in April. I plan on taking my level 2s after I graduate in December, and then sitting for my CSW through the Society of Wine Education.
Okay, see, now he's going into the acronym. So go back to level 1s. What can you do with level 1s?
It's basically a base builder for beginners that want to enter the wine industry. I wanted to go into level 2s because I've been reading, especially Kevin Zraly's Windows on the World.
Who is Kevin Zraly?
So a little bit about Kevin Zraly. He was actually a wine educator, and then he wrote this really amazing book. I blew through it within a couple months, and it gave me the best base transferring over, reading into the Wine Bible now. So that's what I'm kind of in for these next several months, kind of crack into that.
So from level 1, you talked to me about level 1s. What can you do with level 2s?
So that, it goes more in depth. That is more, it's wine and spirits education trust. And level 2 is with wine and spirit. So you learn a little bit about both, because crazy thing, cognac actually is made from Trebbiano, which is a grape based out of Italy.
Okay. Grapes, I think grape is the only fruit that was meant to be crushed. But
speaking of being crushed, you know, it's crazy. Some of the wines actually go through a process called carbonic maceration, where it ferments whole. They don't crush them. And it's mainly specialized in Beaujolais, which is in Burgundy. They make really nice red wines. It's like Gamay grape. Very light body, similar to a Pinot Noir style. Love it.
Aged in bourbon. I think Goose Island has a barrel-aged bourbon stout that is absolutely phenomenal. I got a bottle, and it's a 2015, and I still got it sitting in the bottle. Obviously, it's better aged, obviously, for the bourbon. So, is it similar to that type of fermentation when the grapes are being fermented whole? Is it still giving it that kind of that? So when when it's time for crushing, you get a lot more.
So that style of maceration, it is fermented whole, which allows it to, I'd say it gives it more intense fruit since it's not in a direct, well, it is direct press, but not crushed.
Okay.
It's just,
All right. So after level 2s, what was the next step? You said
I maxed after I take my level 2s through WSET, I plan to sit for my CSWs because that can actually transfer. Well, both of them transfer over, but that's more notable in the workforce. Actually, in the wine industry as well. CSWs through the Society of Wine Educators goes a long way. And then I talked to a couple of wine educators through Johnson & Wales through WSET, and they said that's the perfect route to go to get a break from WSET, but also build on what you have learned through level 1 and 2.
What's next after that path? Like after you hit these goals.
So long term, for me, with hopefully going into retirement or by then, me being a winemaker.
Okay.
That's kind of the goal. That's why I wasn't so focused on being a som unless it's through my own wine.
Okay.
And I bring that same passion into this because I love when I love facing challenges, and with wine, it's always something new to learn. So I never know too much because when I feel like I know it all, I get bored with it. And with this, it's always a challenge.
So, going into your wine and going to your own very wines, you have a logo, right?
Yes.
Okay. And talk to me about your logo.
So it's La Ligue. La Ligue stands for Live Every Day Like It's a Glass. And the meaning behind that is it's more than just a glass of wine. It's the hustle, it's the ambition that I put into it. And it's unique because everybody lives their life, but how do you live every day like it's your glass? Well, you're going to be at the top of the bottom, right? Mm-hmm. And my glass is always full. Not just because I like wine, but it's full of excellence, guidance, and getting me to where I need to be. It's more than just drinking.
Wow.
And that's what I want to do when I become a winemaker. It's that passion, it's that hustle, it's that ambition to provide the best glass of wine to the community.
Wow.
More than just the wine itself, but the experience as well.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's deep. So what really got you to that point to say, hey, this is what I want it to be, as far as my logo and then my acronym? Like, what got you that point?
So, crazy thing, when I actually went to go get my tattoo design, well, my logo tatted on me, me and my tattoo artist were just coming up with some ideas, and he was drawing it up, and I changed some things around. I was like, that's it.
What you can get from that is, every time you have, live life like it's your glass. And what you do when you have a glass of wine, you enjoy it no matter what. So every single day, you enjoy your day like it's your glass. Once again, because you never know if it's your last. So every time you wake up in the morning, treat your life like it's your glass of wine. I really like that, Mason. So tell me what we got here.
So we have New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough. The soil types are very versatile. You can have clay, silt, loam, or also limestone too.
Limestone. That was a big one. Okay.
Do a little taste of it. I actually have not tried this yet, so this is my first time trying it.
Well. Okay. So what is this little contraption here?
So I am actually a brand ambassador for Wake Up Wine. When I got back from the wine conference in DC, Sandra from Wake Up Wine actually reached out to me, and I told her, I was like, yeah, I was always interested in getting one. She was like, I'm gonna hook you up and send me an email. We discussed some things, and she thought I'd be a great brand ambassador for them. Okay. So this is actually an electronic decanter with a built-in Bluetooth speaker, and this is I'd say one of the only ones in the U.S., or if not the best.
Okay, so describe to me what a decanter actually does for those who really don't know what a decanter is.
So it allows wine to basically decant/aerate. Because some wines you open up, you pour a glass, and you're like, oh, wow, that acidity's really bright. Like, it's very tart. And what it does is, once it decants and aerates some, it allows that wine to basically, that lactic acid to go to a lower level, which is more easy to drink. Okay. And then it brightens up some of the flavors as well and the aromas.
Okay. All right, well, try it down, bro. Oh, wow. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, the acidity is probably medium plus. but since it's decanted, it's very soft. A lot of white peach and white flower notes. Definitely some slight lemongrass, a little bit of minerality. It's a good wine, and it's a banger for the price. I think it's only $12 if I'm not mistaken. The Sauvignon Blanc's acidity is really bright, so sometimes after it's decanted, it literally tastes so soft, very easy drinking. Sometimes I don't even prefer decanted Sauvignon Blanc, but with this one, I just said, why not give it?
What happened? So talk to me. Matter of fact, your first wine tasting. Tell me about it.
So it was literally with a couple of my friends from Chapel Hill, and this was back, I think, April of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally brought a bottle of Meiomi Rosé. Didn't know what I was talking about. Had no notes. Didn't even read. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna devote myself to this. And literally was just drinking just to drink. And I said after that, time progressed and tried to apply for a couple of assistant somm positions. I was like, why am I not like knowledgeable enough compared to all these other people when they're asking me these questions?
Mm-hmm.
And I figured out what the problem was. I was doing one thing right, which was tasting, but not knowing what I was talking about. So I really
you didn't just take like the Bible and just go through and just find some notes?
I literally just started reading, crunching through Kevin Durali's Windows on the World, and then everything started to match up.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. So from there, what was the difference from your? Obviously, that was the difference from your first one to your second one.
Yeah. So actually, these were non-legit wine tastings. This was just going over buddies' houses and was like, "Yeah, try this, man. This is something I picked up today." And then after a while, I hosted my first one back. I want to say November 2018, and had a couple of doors and. Really was a good vibe. I knew what I was talking about a little bit because I read a decent amount through the book, but it was just to get my feet wet and comfortable with public speaking.
Okay.
Because that's something I really had a challenge with.
Yeah.
And then once I got that, going into my second one, which was I want to say a couple of weeks ago, actually like a month ago, it was definitely a change. I did it on Sauvignon Blancs and Rosés from different appellations and regions, and actually gauged the crowd and really had a lot of people entertained by it.
So what you got coming up? You got any coming up, or have you set some dates for some future ones?
So after I get back from Napa August 30th, I plan to really start collabing with individuals in the industry, and then after that, it's just whenever I want to host one. So I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in. If you ever want to reach out to me or have any questions, my Instagram is just Mason with 2 underscores. And also, if you're ever interested in a great decanter from Wake Up Wine, you can use code MASON10 for 10% off, and it'll be the best thing you ever invest in. It sure was for me.
Okay. Cool beans. All right, guys. Until next time, my name's Jordan. This is Mason. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.